I feel bad for my audience and for the people who love the readout, because I think we were actually doing a real service and doing good work and in analyzing the madness that's going on in a unique way. And I think representation matters, and not having a Black woman in that space doing it in that specific way, and having Alex Wagner, an Asian American woman, doing it in her specific way. It is not ideal, in a time when we're facing such onslaughts against DEI and diversity. So, it's tough, but it's part of the business, and again, I rise, and still I rise.
Let's go. A 3, a 2, a 1. Hello. Welcome, everyone, to Read This, a Read of That. I am Jackie Reed.
And I am a Joy and a Reed for the ancestors.
Not for the
Behold.
Behold. It's like fire. Well, lady. Hello.
Well, hello.
Hello. It's been an interesting couple of days. We have got a great show lined up for you today. We're going to talk about Beyonce and how the Beehive is really upset about not only her overpriced tickets. We could say that the overpriced tickets for her concert. I'm not going to pin it to her because there's a whole thing about why that happens, but also the new perfume. People are like, girl, you making us feel like you got bills. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about open relationships and whether or not that's something that you're into, because it's quite popular. We're going to talk about Cynthia Erivo.
Why are you pointing at me? Wait, how is that personalized to me?
It's the
you mean the collective, the collective.
Yes. Not you.
Not me.
Cynthia Erivo being cast to play Jesus in Jesus Christ Superstar in a special event at the Hollywood Bowl coming up. And girl, they losing their mind over this. So we're going to talk about that. And then we're going to talk about our question of the week, which we posted last week, which was whether or not Black women should continue to sit back, or with all the craziness, if they should jump in. Is now the time to engage? And when I tell you, girl, we got some comments. So we're going to talk about that and a few other things along the way. But then we have a very special guest joining us today, Cheryl Salt James from the iconic hip hop group Salt N Pepa. This one is so excited because she loves hip hop. She is joining us today. So we got a packed show. But let's start with the issue at hand, which is that has the whole internet talking, Joyanne. And that is that you will no longer be doing your show, The Readout, on MSNBC. Baby. All I can say is the streets are talking. A lot of people are upset, myself included. Girl, I didn't even have time to do nothing with my hair. I don't do much with it, but I was just like, I didn't even sleep last night. I was so upset about this. But, and still we rise. Here she is, looking amazing, right? Fresh faced. I mean, we shall not be moved.
No.
But I know it's been so many things, so many people calling you with love and, just kind of like, what are you doing next? What are you doing next? I feel like you should take a break. But I can't imagine you're ready to talk about what's next. And you have to be, I'm sure, very mindful of, what you say. What can you say about everything that's going on right now? The fact that you'll no longer be at MSNBC.
It's a quite eventful Black History Month.
Yes.
I won an NAACP Image Award two of them, one for Megger and Merle and one for the readout on a Tuesday. And then found out I would not be doing the readout on a Saturday.
Yeah.
So that's very brief interregnum. In that interregnum, I did a show. My last show the week before, my last show is actually this past Monday, which hopefully you guys tuned into.
Yeah.
But the show before that, that Friday show, this is before we knew what was going on. I did a segment about Donald Trump hosting Black History Month at the White House, right? Less than 12 hours before his defense secretary fired General C.Q. Brown, who is the Joint Chiefs of Staff chair. So all I can say is, irony is alive. Black History Month is still happening, and the ironies within it abound.
Very well thought out. Very well thought out. I love that I called you yesterday and I was like, hey girl, do you still want to do the podcast? Because this was yesterday that you found out and we record on Sundays. And you were like, yeah, let's go. Let's do it.
Because you know what the thing is, and you know how this is, like, I'm in work mode. You know what I mean? And look, I've been in the, you and I both have been in the news business for years because we're super young and fresh, but we've been in it a minute.
Yes.
And in that kind of time, I have done a Radio 1 show that got canceled within 4 months of the Iowa caucuses in which Barack Hussein Obama became the nominee of the Democratic Party. So it would have been convenient to have a radio show then, back when I worked for Radio 1. I got elevated from the Griot to do a show called The Reed Report on MSNBC, which a year in got canceled. Me and Ronan Farrow. And I found out I was canceled while I was doing the show. Like halfway through my show at 2:30, an intern comes running out with their hand out saying, give me your phone. I'm like, why? I give her one phone, but I have two phones. So I pulled up the other phone and I'm literally trending on Twitter that my show had been canceled.
While you're on the air.
While I was on the air. And then, Phil Griffin, who at the time was the president of MSNBC, he's like, I got something for you. I got something for you. He's like, first of all, he gave me and my executive producer a spa trip as our compensation for how much we had been humiliated. And he said, take my credit card. We were like, oh, we're going to take your credit card. We went out and we had a great time at the spa. But then he got me to, he put me back out in the world as a reporter, as a journalist. I did some of my best journalism. Yeah. I covered the Confederate flag coming down in South Carolina. I covered many a Black Lives Matter case, the Baltimore uprising. And that just, fueled me then when Melissa Harris Perry left her show. He asked me to take over that show, which was at a very caustic moment because, you want to say the streets was hot. The streets was hot when Melissa Harris Perry was removed or left. She actually quit. She resigned because of, just feeling that she wasn't being treated. She resigned for many reasons.
Girl, so, that's Michelle Obama. We'll pause.
If it was, it's not Michelle Obama. So I'm just gonna go ahead and turn off my phone because this is what my phone's been doing. And by the way, I'm kind of glad this happened in the middle of the podcast for the recording because this is what's been happening all for 2 straight days. But anyway, so I've had, and then that show I did on AM Joy, which was very popular, thank God for Melissa, really endorsing it and really embracing the show. And so people embraced it too. And it got really popular. And then because of that, when Chris Matthews abruptly left, they were like, hey, all-time stepmama of television shows, come and take over this show. So I ended up taking over the readout and we did this for almost 5 years. So I've been in the business. So you lose shows, it's a thing that happens. It happened. Your shows will get canceled. Your shows happen, but it's still painful. And I love my team. And, we created this incredible, multiracial, really interesting, eclectic team. And I feel awfully for them. I feel bad for my audience and for the people who love the readout, because I think we were actually doing a real service and doing good work and analyzing the madness that's going on in a unique way. And I think representation matters, and not having a Black woman in that space doing it in that specific way, and having Alex Wagner, an Asian American woman, doing it in her specific way, it is not ideal, in a time when we're facing such onslaughts against DEI and diversity. So, it's tough, but it's part of the business, you know,
It
and
is.
and again, I rise and still I rise.
Let's go.
Because
Let's
I have so
go.
much more planned. And, you know, I'm not going nowhere. I'm still here, right here on Read This, Read That. And I got
Come
so
on.
many other projects in the works. So we going to make it.
It's gonna be like popcorn. She's gonna be doing pop, pop, pop. This. I vote for a quick vacation, though. I vote for a little vacay.
You and Lawrence O'Donnell. Lawrence O'Donnell is my vacation counselor other than you. You know, there's certain friends that you have in the business that are like, their advice is always take a vacation and take a break.
Yes.
And I love those friends. Those are the best friends because they're going to make sure that you rest and relax. But I have to say, one of the things that I will say about MSNBC that I really love and that I think is somewhat unique in media business, and I haven't worked everywhere, so I couldn't really say how everywhere is, but all us anchors at MS, like we actually are friends. Like that's like a unique thing where it's such a great, warm friend environment. Like we're cool. Like we text each other, we, you know, support each other, we call each other. Like, you know, it's a family in the sense that you know, I've filled in for every team. So I know all the producers on every team. And it's just like a cool group of people. And so I just want to big up the MSNBC on air people because they're all really great.
Yeah. And you're such a lovely person to work with. You know, I would hear about it all the time when I was in the building. This girl is so considerate and thoughtful, never forgets a birthday, never, you know, always bringing gifts for the holidays, and just, you know, really knows everyone on a very personal level, not just, you know, her fellow on-air people, but everybody behind the scenes, hair and makeup. They love it when she comes in there because she is everybody's friend. Everybody loves, she's such a lovely person. And I know this, you know, just from knowing you as a friend over the years. You're so you will be missed, I'm sure, not just by viewers, but by people behind the scenes. But, you know, as you said, in this business, life goes on because you will continue doing the work. It's almost, you know, the work that you do and so many journalists are out there doing right now is more important than ever. And I'm sure that will continue in whatever way, shape, or form, you know, because it's like your voice is so important and needed in this moment right now, especially over the next 4 years. So I'm excited, you know, that you'll be here on Read This, Read That you'll be doing some other things after you take a vacation. So really happy about that. I do want to
take a vacation.
Yes, you have to. I do want to revisit. I don't want to jump over the NAACP awards that you won. Let's talk about that though, because you won 2 or 3. Because I know last night they did a 3rd category. Did you win that one too?
I didn't win that one. Jennifer Hudson beat me in the best host category.
It was because that Spirit Tunnel. Aaron, Pierre.
I really am convinced the Spirit Tunnel is how she beat. I don't even think it was just Jennifer Hudson. It was the Spirit Tunnel itself. Yes. The Spirit Tunnel beat me. I got beat by the Spirit Tunnel. J Hud, that Spirit Tunnel's tricky, sister. You got me with the Spirit Tunnel. You got me. You got me with the Spirit Tunnel. Yeah, she beat me with the Spirit Tunnel. But I won for Read This, or for Read This, Read That. We should win one for Read This, Read That. Nominate us next year, somebody.
Next year we're doing it.
We're doing it next year. We should nominate us for best podcast. I won for best news and information series for the Readout, and we specifically nominated our interview with Brittany Griner when she was released from the Gulag in Russia. So that episode is what we submitted. Oof. And then I also won one for Medgar and Murley, my bookie, and I'm so proud of that because Meg, you know how I feel about Murley Evans Williams. Our soror, I love her so much. Yeah. And I just wanted every accolade that comes, I really feel is an accolade for her. So I texted the family and they went and made sure that they let her know. And I'm just happy because anything that says Murley on it is a win for me.
I love how you have really become part of that family and an extension of that family. Like they love
I added myself. I'm like, I'm in the family now. Hi. They're like, all right, fine. Come on. Come on.
I love that. I love that. So congratulations on those 2 wins. That's a really big deal. Everyone was tuned. Well, a lot of people were tuned in. Oh yeah. What are you drinking?
Security. What are you drinking?
I have, where's my, girl. I've got this Leary's Classico, non-alcoholic, sparkling wine. It's so delicious.
Oh wait, when is your alcohol free thing gonna end? Is it ever gonna end, or are you just literally alcohol free now?
No, I'm not alcohol free. I'm really leaning into it and trying to find what I like and what I don't like, because what I'm trying to get rid of overall are cravings. You know how you might come home from a hard day and be like, girl, let me get a glass of wine,
Every day.
or I need a drink. Right.
Every night.
I'm trying to remove that from, I don't want that to control me with anything. You know what I mean? I don't want to be like, I want something to eat. Let me just grab something,
Right.
That's not good for me. I'm really trying to lean into wellness. And, girl, alcohol, it just is what it is. It's so bad for you. But like for my birthday, I definitely had some champagne. So I won't say that I'm just sober, but I'm trying to mostly do that because I want to control. Girl, during COVID and all that stuff with George Floyd, and we were home, baby.
I gained 20-something pounds during COVID.
The wine that I drank, girl. You could go up and down the stairs of the townhouse where I was living and put a bottle of wine on each having wine all the time. Same. And I love my therapist because at that time I was like, gosh, I think I'm really drinking a lot. And she was like, don't add that to your plate. She was like, if wine, because it wasn't like I was waking up at 9 and drink all day. It would be at night and I have a glass or 2 or 3. And she was like, don't add that to your list of things to stress you out.
Right.
You got to get past everything else that you're dealing with. And so I was just like, you know what? I really want to try this. And I started at the end of last year and I was like, let me lean into some things. And so I've been finding really delicious things. What I am looking for is something that gives me the feeling of drinking alcohol and doesn't taste like grape juice or anything, like that. Tastes like I'm having a glass of wine, which this does. This gives you a little bit of the feeling, but still not what I would feel if I was drinking.
Right.
But yeah, so I haven't given it up completely. I mean, when I see you, I'll probably have security or a glass of champagne with some Prosecco in it or something like that. So yeah, it's just.
And by the way, for those who don't know, my previous drink was Prosecco and Saint Germain, and it was Jackie Reed who introduced me to that drink, and it became both of our favorite drink to the point where it was like a theme on Read This, Read That.
Yes, that was our cocktail.
Both our favorite drink. Yeah.
Yes, I don't think we ever named it, but that was what we used to love, Saint Germain. Girl.
And I still love a Prosecco and Saint Germain. It's a great summer drink because it's light, and if you don't overdo the Saint Germain of it, it's so light and delicious.
Yeah, that made me think how much I'm looking forward to just sitting outside somewhere and having, like a glass of something refreshing and a nice meal and just enjoying the ambiance, just sitting there and just taking it all in and just enjoying that good food, good company, and just loving it. Like I'm looking, it's right around the corner.
It's coming. It's coming. We have our back porch done so that for just that purpose, just to sit. I miss it so much when it's warm. Just going in the backyard, taking Nala the dog and letting Nala run around and do her thing while I'm just chilling. I cannot wait. Cannot wait.
I love that.
Let me hear your wind down. Sorry, sister cousin friend.
I was gonna say my wind down was really just talking to you. About everything that was going on. I'm telling you, girl, I love that you're so that you're in this state that you're in, because everybody's like, how's she doing? I was so stressed out yesterday, girl. I didn't go to bed until like 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
I was just like,
it's stressful. And it's funny. I've gone through all the emotions. You know what I mean? I've gone through rage. I've gone through sadness. I've shed a few tears, and mostly really for my team, because I just feel like they were done wrong. And I hate to be the cause, me being like, so in the spotlight, being the cause of anyone's unemployment, so that's really where I've really felt it. And also I just love my show, and I just think it's a good show. And I don't think there was anything we did wrong. I don't think there's anything wrong with our show. Our show did well. Our show, the sort of narrative that really, bothers me is the idea that our show wasn't getting ratings. No,
that's not true.
We typically would win the demo on most nights. We beat CNN throughout the entirety of the previous year. We were beating CNN this quarter again. And we typically were one of the highest demo shows at the network and did very, very well. So, and everybody in all the networks except for Fox are down. So, and it's not like uniquely just one show was down. We were all down, but our show, I have to be very brag about the fact that we were down less than the overall network. And So I just think that that is such a casual way of trying to dust off, sort of shuffle a show off to the corner and say that it wasn't good. And that's just not a way to, I think journalists who are writing that need to be a little bit more a little bit more curious before writing something like that, because this is
Yeah.
discoverable information. I mean, you can literally go on mediaite.com and they give you the ratings every day. There are services where journalists could find out. So I think journalists that are writing that are being lazy in the way that they're reporting the story. There's a reason, and they can simply find that reason out and do your journalism. Don't do the lazy narrative.
Yeah,
because our show did great. Our show was great and did great. Let's not even.
Let's be clear. It was a great show. There were so many people who were like, "This is the only show I'm watching on MSNBC," and they loved, tuning in. So many people loved watching you, and will follow you wherever to this and whatever else you're doing. So
yeah.
Whatever.
Look, my godmother always says disappointment works for good, and I have so much more on tap, so many projects, and not just individual projects, but I'm very committed to staying in the fight against fascism. I'm very committed to staying in the fight for democracy. I'm sort of answering the question we did, the online question. No, I'm committed. I'm not resting. I will rest for a couple of weeks per my source sister cousin friend's advice. I will take that advice and get some rest. I'm going to work on, I have a book I want to work on, and I have some other things. But I'm committed because we are skating toward fascism, and one mustn't just allow oneself to slide into fascism without putting up a fight.
No, it's like you're needed now more than ever. So even though you are going to take a little bit of a break, we need you to get back in it, because you're one of the main voices against it, and you are much needed. So glad to hear you will continue.
I will.
So let's talk about some hot topics. Yes. I definitely want to start off, girl, these dogs, it can never be easy. I definitely want to talk about,
dogs are like little kids. When you're on the phone, doing a podcast or in a meeting, that's when they want you. You know what I mean? They're like, oh, why are you doing something that takes your attention away from me?
Right. And my dog will close the laptop or put his hand on my phone. If I have my phone up, my dog will, the little one.
No. Yeah, like, no, that's not me.
No.
Yeah.
Put that down. Put that down. I'm like, okay, I'm spending too much time.
I'm here in my office. If I try to shut Nala outside, she will literally spend the whole show you'll just hear the door rattling as she scratches on the door. So she's like, you can't be in that room without me. Why are you in there? Why am I on this side of the door?
I'm surrounded by dog beds and chairs so that they can all be here.
They have to be right here. Nala is like, she's right behind me. You can't see her, but she's right behind me. And when I would do the show back when I was doing the readout, she would go on the little platform that we have where we have the desk and everything when we do the show from home. And she's right there at my feet.
Oh, I love that. See, I love working from home.
It's the best.
It's the best. No reason to go into the office unless you need to.
Correct.
It's just a waste of real estate. Those companies could be saving money. Okay, but we're not going to go down that road. Let's talk about Beyonce. I say it that way because of how somebody on Saturday Night Live, I can't remember the actress that did it, called her Beyonce. Okay, so ma'am, let's talk about Beyonce and these tickets, girl. People are mad. So let me read this. So the Beehive reacts and shared their thoughts on the expensive tickets to Beyonce's Cowboy Carter tour, and how Ticketmaster has impacted fans' ability to buy tickets at affordable rates. Girl, these are some of the comments from Beehive folks. Ticketmaster is ruining the concert experience. I've never had a problem. It's a monopoly. Somebody else said, Cowboy Carter herself, Beyonce, is saddling up for her highly anticipated new show, The Cowboy Carter and the Rodeo Chitlin Circuit Tour. And with the release of new tour dates come new prices. And the Cowboy Carter ticket prices are sending fans into a frenzy as they try to cop tickets among soaring prices and Ticketmaster mishaps, with ticket prices reaching over $3,800 in some places per ticket. Yeah. I mean, and you know how this works. But people are like, is it the chicken or the egg, right? Who's at fault here? Is it Ticketmaster who has the monopoly on concerts and ticket sales, or is it the artist? right? Because some
Right.
people are going overseas. They've been posting on social media that they're going overseas to go to the Beyonce concert because the tickets are much cheaper, even though they have to pay for travel and
Right.
lodging. They're like, still, it'll equal out to what I'm paying to go here. At least I get a little vacation out of it. I
Yeah.
do think the ticket prices are out of control. And with Beyonce, especially, she's taking heat not only for expensive ticket prices, but also she launched a perfume like last week. And so people are like, sis, really? Somebody was like, you making me think you got bills, Beyonce. Like, what's going on? The comments are hilarious. But it is, even on our show, because we talked about the Cowboy Carter tour,
Yeah.
there were comments on our YouTube channel about people saying, I can't believe y'all are endorsing this. I can't believe y'all aren't saying anything about these high ticket prices. So here we are acknowledging that the prices are outrageous, but it's across the board. It's not just her. It's Taylor Swift, Bad Bunny. It's any art, and it's the demand that drives up the prices. But then to me, it's out of control.
It is. And I mean, the thing about these concerts these days, because I remember back in the day, now I age myself, but you go to a concert, it's probably like $50. You know what I mean? Like it was really cheap. And you could see, I saw Climax and what is it called? Kool and the Gang. Then I didn't even want to go. I was literally just walking down the street and they happened to be in Radio City. And a guy was outside and he was like, you want to go see Climax and what's it called? What did I just what's it that? Do you want to go see the concert, right? And I'm like, not really, but he was like, it's only $50, you should go. And I was like, okay. So I bought the tickets, went in, and it was a really Kool and the Gang and Climax, and I actually really enjoyed the concert. It was $50. And that was in like the 90s, but that's the kind of, and this was a scalper. So again, I was paying a scalper $50 to go see a concert at Radio City Music Hall. I had never been in there. I was like, this is dope. We're at a point now where you're paying $2,500, $3,500. The Swifties got mad about the same exact thing. They're going to see a Taylor Swift concert is like buying a car. It's becoming so expensive. And then you add StubHub and the resellers and the fact that if you do get the $200 ticket, you're way up there in the top, in the nosebleed. You can't barely see. Why are you even there? You're physically in the room, but the lady looks like a little dot. So it's like, I actually do think in general, these concerts too high. The rent is too damn high.
The concert's too damn high. No, I absolutely agree. It's unfortunate, but I do feel like the artists need to take a stand. And this is without me understanding the, all the workings of it, but I know, Ticketmaster is really at fault here, but I feel like, Beyonce, Taylor Swift, all of them should look at these comments from their fans that are saying, we want to go.
Yeah.
But wow, this is so expensive.
And the last thing I will say about this, and I know we got the buzzer, part of the reason these tickets are so high is these concerts are so highly stylized and they are so elaborate with the elaborate sets and the set changes and 500 dancers. And you're making the concerts expensive, to your point about the artist. When you go to see a Sade show, it's affordable because it's Sade, her band, and that's it. When you go see The Roots, it's The Roots. Maybe some flame actions a couple times here and there. Maybe a little marching band might march in. But it's The Roots, the band, The Roots. It's Black Thought rapping, and that's it. Like, some of these concerts are expensive because they're putting on. I mean, I went to a Madonna concert that I just happened to get tickets to, like freebie tickets to. And this thing was so elaborate, it might as well have been Cirque du Soleil. It was the sets were over the top. It was wild. And people are paying $2,500. You're paying that because you're paying for this artist's artistry. So I think maybe the artists could think about ways to do their artistry and still have their vision, but make their vision less pricey. Because they're the fans at a certain point, people aren't going to be able to afford it. And by the way, once this bird flu crashed the economy and RFK Jr. don't let the measles stop the measles, and we start having an economy because everybody unemployed because they don't laid off all the federal workers, and you got all these unemployment rates going up, and people are losing money, and you're having. I mean, it's not like the economy is probably going to get better. It's probably going to get worse. Those tariffs are going to hike the prices of everything. So we're about to probably have a pretty rough economy. And we're looking at Medicaid cuts, Social Security cuts to things like SNAP. I'm not sure the Beehive is going to be able to afford to go to a $2,500 concert. in a
And if
year.
you think you're going to use your refund check, your tax refund check, I don't know if that's coming.
Elon and them and Big Boss might just say, you ain't getting the check. Because they already IRS decided, let's see, I don't think Miss Jones, I don't think she liked Trump. 0. Let's see. Let's see. I think what's her name? Sharquita. That sounds like a black person. 0.
Listen, just watch and take note. That's all I got to say about that. Okay. So
y'all
let's
want to
move
know.
on.
Y'all wanted y'all Trump. Y'all said we want Trump. Go get a stimmy. Yeah, okay.
Girl, it fascinates me to watch people who have, fucked around and found out with these boohoo and all these town halls with these congressional leaders, Republicans especially, and people who are just like, I didn't think you meant us. I thought you meant them.
I voted for the leopards will eat my face party. I never thought the leopards would eat my face,
but they are. I can't. Well, I want to get to our question of the week because we do it every Monday. If you check our social media every Monday, we do a question of the week. Last week it was, is it time for Black women to clock back in? Baby, wait, hold on. I'm looking on my phone. We got so many comments on this, and it was just a whole thing. We had 251 responses to our poll. I know that's not a lot in your world, but it's a lot in the read that world, and we appreciate
it's a lot. Every vote counts.
Every vote counts. So 86% of our people said Black women should continue to sit this one out. 14% said rest time is over. We have to help stop this. And girl, it was some crazy comments from people. There were a few that were like, like the 18% that were like, no, we need to get back in this, because they're seeing what's happening and it's alarming. And you figure if the world is on fire, like we put up that art of the Black women sitting on top of the rooftop and watching the world burn. In my opinion, your house is on fire too, so, I don't know. A lot of people are really alarmed about it, but we got a lot of comments. Somebody said, wait, Dre 792 said, we need to step up and step back in. It's not for everyone else, but for our families and communities. It's time to get over the I told you so and fight. Let's see. I'm trying to find one about, somebody, they actually spelled this word. CC the Geek said LMAO. I'll check my calendar, but I got shit to do. Oop. How much y'all paying? Oop. Oop, oop. Somebody said nerp. 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 Somebody else, Ybird911 said, nope, they not desperate enough yet. I want them to all caps feel our absence down to the core of their souls. Ooh. It ain't time yet. Girl, so what do you think? Have you moved on this? Because I know you're in favor of people resting, but you yourself, you've been in it. You could not, because it's your job to stay in this. So
it's my job, and I'm passionate about fighting. How do you think I just like to fight? I just like to fight not for the sake of anything, but I actually have a very strong feelings about fascism. It turns out. So I personally don't think that's for me, but I fully understand Black women, especially, but Black men too, because they were in the 80%. But I understand Black women saying, we've been carrying democracy on our backs for 249 years. And every time we tell white folks, hey, ally with us against the oligarchs, because the oligarchs hate you too. They say, get back, Negro. We don't want you. We voting with the oligarchs, because one day we're going to be oligarchs too. And then when the bad things happen, they go, oh my God, Blacks, will you march with us? Oh my God, can you put on a pussy hat? Can you put on a pussy hat? Oh my gosh, we need to say women's rights. But look, I'm sorry. We voted, Karen. We voted for women's rights. We were gonna try to save you. Yeah, I know, but you know what? I thought Trump was gonna make eggs cheaper. I thought they were gonna make eggs cheaper. Can you just please put a pussy hat on? And we're just like, I am not putting on a damn pussy hat. You put a pussy hat. You do it. And so I get the you do it. I 100% understand why Black women are like, Let's sit back and watch
Yeah.
you all now get in this fight and have to feel what it feels like to fight for democracy, because we've been fighting for our lives since we got here in 1619.
Come
Time for
on.
you all to, and I actually am slightly in the camp of saying that while I feel like some of us who have taken it as our mission to try to change this and try to push back on it, if the masses of Black people specifically say, we're going to wait to see if white Americans change course. We
Yeah.
want to see if they first, before we jump out front, in front of the movement, in front of the parade, we're happy to stay in the rear of the parade and see if we need proof positive that white Americans are finally feeling it enough and feeling it enough and taking it enough on the chin themselves that they
Yeah.
realize that they really do need to side with us. Because if you took white Americans and made them disappear, if they went up into a spaceship and you held an election, no Republican would ever win anything, even with a Hispanic men going the other way, because every other racial group except for white Americans votes majority Democratic. So the responsibility to change this is on white Americans. It really is there. So they
Yeah.
have got to, at some, and I think especially white women, and white women with college degrees are getting there because they went 55-45 Kamala. So they're getting it. They're waking up to it. But white women have the power. They're 31% of the population. We are 7%. Black women are 7%. They're 31%. So the 31% has to catch up to where we, who are 7% of the population, but 92% for Democrats, you need to come our way before you expect us to get out in front and put our bodies on the line. I get that. I get it.
Yeah. Am I wrong to be encouraged? Tell me what you think by what these town halls with Republican leaders and the people who voted. I don't even know why we call them Republican anymore, because it really is just MAGA. These people who are really upset with the people, with these people voted for Trump. You know, they helped put these Republican elected officials back in office, and they are giving them the business. Are you encouraged by that? I felt a little encouraged, even though it was just snippets of all that's happening. What do you think?
I think it's more than snippets. And I think we haven't had enough room, which is one of the reasons I'm kind of excited about my sort of next life of doing like podcasts and stuff where you can do longer form stuff. You know, you have very limited time on television. We have so much footage, we can't even use it all on television. Wow. It's not just at some town halls. We're talking about in deep red districts, like this guy McCormick in red part of Georgia, not where you are in Georgia, north of Atlanta in District 7 in Georgia. Google it. It's very, very red. So you're talking about people who probably voted for Trump. And I actually... I like seeing and want to see white Americans litigate this amongst themselves. And I think it's healthy for white Americans to litigate this without Black people involved, so that it can be deflected onto us. You see what I'm saying? Whenever we're in the front, the whole anger gets deflected. It's easy for MAGA to deflect the anger onto us rather than sit with it themselves. And so I am very encouraged, but what I don't trust is that then changes their voting behavior. What I need to see, and this is why I'm saying that the people who say we're sitting, I think the sitting people are not saying they won't fight for democracy. What they're saying is they're going to sit back, they're going to have a good meal, take a break, and see if when it comes time to vote, the way they're speaking in the town hall, are they going to do that? Because to me, that's all that matters. You can talk on the town hall you want. If you turn around and vote for that man again because he's a Republican, and you won't vote for any Democrat, even when they say they're going to fix it, that's why we have a problem. That's what I need. I need white voters to vote the way they're talking in the town halls. Then we'll have something.
Yeah, no, agreed. Well, I feel like the Republican Party is dead, girl. It's MAGA.
It is dead.
I call it MAGA. It's done.
Gone. It's gone. The Republican Party is gone. It's dead. And so this is what I would say to our white friends. You have to understand that the team sports approach to politics is what got us here, right? Mm-hmm. The fact that you will say, I will vote for any R just because it's an R, even if it's Trump, even if it's whatever. That's how we got here. Because again, every other group does not do that. You're the only one. And then Democrats do it with the Ds. We do vote the same with D. But Democrats aren't trying to bring fascism into America. Right. So it's a little different that we reflexively vote D.
Very different.
So I just feel like white America has to come to Jesus and understand we have the same enemy, and the enemy is not DEI. The enemy is oligarchy and these very wealthy individuals who want to control the world, and they don't want elections. They don't want democracy. They don't want regulation. They don't care if people die as a result of deregulation. They just don't care about humans. They care about money, and they're willing to use your discomfort with multiculturalism, and your discomfort with, let's say, trans people, and even some Black people's discomfort with like trans people, all our discomforts get used against us. You know what I mean? So if you're uncomfortable with trans people playing women's sports, I think that's your choice, but don't let that walk you into fascism. Don't say I'm gonna walk into fascism just because I'm scared some trans person I'll never meet is playing a sport. Don't do that.
Right. Or drag queens are in the schools. I mean, come on.
And a school you ain't in.
and you ain't even got kids in school. Like, come on. Just stop with the crazy.
It's not that serious. Look, I've walked into a man's bathroom when I got to pee real bad. So
I have done it
many times, because I'm just like, when I was pregnant, baby,
girl, that line is too long.
I was like, I'm pregnant. I'm about to pee in this bathroom with you.
Right.
So don't look.
Turn
away, because I'm in here. I just recently did it. It was funny. We were at the Kennedy Center. We were seeing a concert, and you have to go. And when you go to like a concert, like at the Kennedy Center, girl, that line is so long when it comes time for that break. And we jumped up, I jumped up, everybody jumps up and everyone runs to the bathroom. And of course the women's line is like wrapped around a wall. And I was like, I am not going to miss the second act of this, whatever we were seeing, because of these ladies. I'm like, I'm sorry. I was like, I'm going in this other bathroom. This other lady's like, you going to go in the men's room? I said, come with me if you want to live. I said, I'm going in there. Me and the one lady, everyone else was like, we ain't doing that. And me and the one lady, we walked in, we said, hi, gentlemen. We're good. We
gotta do it.
Thank you. Walked right in, walked right out. And as I'm walking out, a man stopped me. I'm like, oh, here we go. He's gonna get at me. He said, are you Joy Reid from the Readout? Oh my God, can we take a selfie? And I was like, not in the bathroom, but sure, let me wash my hands and then we can go outside.
Oh my God. Well, let me take this moment to transition, because girl, we have a legend in the building. Yes. I love this woman so much. So we've got Cheryl Salt James, who of course we all know is a Grammy Award winning American icon. Known as one of the founding members of the groundbreaking hip hop female rap group Salt N Pepa. We're not going to leave it to her. I know we've been singing and everything. Cheryl,
don't make me do it. I'll do the whole thing.
I know, but listen, she has a great new book that came out at the end of last year called Mental Health Matters: Breaking the Silence, Igniting Hope, and Redefining Wellness, where she really talks about her own personal journey to wellness. So we going to get into all of that.
Yes.
But
and I'm going to calm down and not fangirl. I'm going to calm my ass down for a minute.
Hi, y'all. Congratulations. Congratulations on bringing your beautiful lights together with the two reads. I love it. So excited for you all.
Thank you. We're so glad to have you here. Now, wait a minute. Now, where are you? Are you in New York? Are you in LA? Where are you right now?
I'm in LA. I moved out here about 3 years ago. And
you did?
Yes, girl. The native New Yorker, grew up in Brooklyn, career started in Queens, raised her kids in Long Island, is now in LA. But I'm loving it.
Well, let me ask you, you're in LA. Yeah, are you okay with the fires? Were you impacted?
Listen, I was not aware that this was even an issue. I had a fire in the front of me and a fire in the back of me where I can see, but I never had to evacuate. And I had just moved in. Like, I had my parents, my sister, like a bunch of people here throughout Christmas. Got the last person on the plane, and then the fire started. And I was just here like, Jesus. Do not let this happen to me. I just got in this house, so I'm so sorry there's so many people that lost their homes. It was really, really gut wrenching to, watch that happen.
For sure.
So many of my colleagues, I can't even count the amount of people that lost their homes, especially in Altadena. But I'm here. Praise God. Thank you, Lord.
Praise God. Now, what was the thing that made you say, okay, I'm leaving New York? I'm leaving where it all started and where I grew up. What made you move out to LA?
Well, you've been to my house plenty of times. I would have my prayer group once a month. Jackie used to come sometimes. And, a lot of things happened in my home, great, wonderful things like weddings and birthday parties and birth announcements. And, but then I got divorced. And so my kids were out the house. My husband was gone. And I'm just like here in this house with all the ghosts of Christmas past, I was like, I'm on my own right now. I could do whatever I want. And so I always gone back and forth to LA, and it's one of my favorite places. A lot of people don't like it. I love it because the weather can't beat it. You know what I mean? The palm trees, everywhere you look, there's a mountain, there's a palm tree. So I enjoy it. And I found my crowd. You know, you just got to find your people. Wherever you go, you're good. Yeah.
That is amazing.
I would think you know that people flock to you. I would think everybody, they're like, wait a minute, is that girl? I would think people are tugging at you to do different things. But I know for you, you're very particular about who you spend quality time with.
Yes. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I need my peace. I'm in pursuit of peace always.
Girl.
Well, I mean, the one thing I do, and I love LA too. I actually love I love New York. I mean, I love New York and will always love New York. But LA is great because it is calm. But one of the great things about LA that's similar to New York is people are not pressed because every other person is famous. So it's like, are there lots of well-known people that you can blend in and not really worry about really being too much pulled at? But I would love to ask, like, you became so famous so young. And you were part of this iconic group that is so larger than life. I wonder, as an adult, once you mature, how do you deal with that experience? Like, when you look back at that, do you feel like you were like a child star and that, like, you know what I mean? Like, how do you even like sort of deal with that emotionally, mentally? Like, how does it sit with you now as an adult?
Yeah, well, that's a good question because a lot of people they just think of this as glamorous, you know, and we know being famous is not all glamorous, right? It's a lot that comes with it, i.e. people's opinion about who you are and what you think. And so in this industry, you know, as an artist, you're really a product for the most part for management, record company, and people depend on you. And it gets really difficult, especially as a woman, to be on the road and, you know, to be recognized a lot. And like, it's hard to describe if you haven't been through it. But I always say fame is a little traumatizing, especially for introverted people like myself, you know. But I feel like you have to take the initiative and control over your own life, your own career, as far as your mental health, your spiritual health, your physical health, because they will wear you out and they will move on to the next. So you have to, you know, make sure that that is a priority for you. I did like a year straight of therapy. Years after my divorce. And I was like, man, if I would have done this while I was divorcing, it would have been so much easier. Like I would have come to these conclusions so much earlier. So I recommend therapy 1,000% for people, and working out and eating right and all that good stuff, and just keeping yourself mentally healthy, you know.
Do you listen to your music?
Oh, go ahead. No, go. Was it hard to find a good therapist? Because a lot of people struggle with that. And I would think for someone as famous as you, it's got to be tough.
Yeah, I actually went through a couple of people, and then I ended up with a older Jewish white gentleman.
Really?
Yeah, but you know what's so funny? I was wondering, like, why am I like gelling with this guy so much? And I really chalked it up to he's older and he's a man, you know. And so I had like the kind of missing father. He was there, my dad, but he drank a lot. And so I didn't really have that relationship. So I felt like it was something comforting about him being an older man. And then he's Jewish, and, you know, I relate to their culture because I raised my kids around Jewish people. I've been to the brisks and all the things. You know, and they Old Testament, we New Testament, they Old Testament. So we was relating on a lot of levels. Yeah, but sometimes you gotta, you know, go through a few people. It's not easy to find the right person. And people quit when they don't find the right person, they quit. And it's like, you don't get to, you know, figure out.
I had a nightmare of having a therapist start the session by saying, you know, I love you on MSNBC. You're keeping me sane. And I said, you're supposed to be keeping me sane. So I think this is going to work out between us.
Yeah.
No, not good. And this guy didn't know who I was. So
that's perfect.
Yeah,
ideal.
So perfect. Yeah.
Let me ask you this, because you, you know, obviously Salt N Pepa is so iconic, you know, and was, you know, one of my absolute favorites back in the day. Can you talk a little bit about how you wound up as just, you know, a young high school student How did you become a part of this group? Can you give us a little bit of the origin story of the group, and how difficult was it to do that as a young woman in a very male, and that at that time even more male dominated industry?
Yeah. Well, I was dating our producer Herbie, who was already into music. He had a group, Super Lover MCs. Kid and Play was in that group, so he already was in that zone, and he wanted to start a female group. And so, long story short, he recruited me and Pep, and there was actually two girls before Peppa. One of them, her name was Allison. She spoke too properly, so you can't, you gotta, you can't do that. And then her name was Janine. She had this really high pitched voice. So it was like three bears, and then Pep came along and she was just right.
Just right.
Voices blended really well together. We were also friends. And so, so we did the Showstopper, which is the answer to Slick Rick and Dougie Fresh's The Show. Back then, that's how you got your foot in the door. Roxanne Dante had answered UTFO, and she was really the model for us. And we didn't have to work hard. It was like just written in the stars for us. I had no plan B. I was like, this is all I want to do. I don't want to do anything else. Like, be able to do something you love, as we know, and make a living is like just no better position. So when I got on the mic, I was like, this is what I'm going to do. And I'm quiet and introverted and the least likely person, but I found that I was really good at it, good as a writer, good even as a producer. I actually produced, my first song I wrote and produced on my own was Expression, and it was a platinum single. My first song,
Wow.
So I can do this. This is working for me. But for just a little bit of backstory that I always enjoy telling, we worked at Sears Roebuck, me, Herbie, and Peppa, right? We were telephone solicitors. We sold maintenance agreements on Sears appliances, girl.
I love that.
And me and Pep used to talk to each other on the phone. And like when the supervisor would come by, we were like, yes. So what would you like just faking the funk, right? And there was a chart in the front where you could see like people's sales, and me and Pep so bad. But Martin Lawrence worked there, and Kid and Play, Salt N Pepa, and Herbie Lovebug. Yeah, Martin came from DC. He wanted to be a comedian, so New York is where you make it. And he worked at a Hess gas station across the street, and then he started working at Sears. And he jokes out on me, and I didn't think he was very funny. I used to you changed my cubicle. Like, this guy is getting on my nerves. But anyway, he opened for Salt N Pepa, and that was like one of his first gigs. So yeah, that's that history.
Amazing.
So yeah.
How do you feel about having longevity in this business, Cheryl? Because it's hard. A lot of people who started when you all started wish that they had the kind of success that you all have continued. I mean, even with your song "Push It" is still out there. You guys are still performing. You know what I mean? You're still relevant to the culture in a big way. New artists are sampling your music. I mean, you guys are so relevant to the culture. How does that feel to have that longevity when so many people in the business don't have that?
Yeah, I mean, it feels good. They use Salt N Pepa songs and Geico commercials. Like, I could go on and on and on. I'll go to the movies and they'll have a whole scene in the movie, and I'm like checking my paperwork. Like, I don't remember getting that request, but yeah. It's good because it's what we do for a living, right? It's the way we sustain ourselves, right? It's not just like this fun, scenario. So to be able to be blessed, and little kids come into our show, there's sometimes a grandmother, a mother, and a daughter, like 3 generations, and they're so proud to let us know, like, I taught my daughter the music, and my daughter taught her daughter the music. So I appreciate it. I didn't think it would be this fast and furious almost 40 years later, but it's a blessing. I had to take a year off, girl. I just took a year off. I'm like, dang. It's good.
Yeah. Is there an artist that's out now that you feel is living up to the legacy that you all had, that you, Roxanne Shante, that, you know, the classics of that era, Queen Latifah? Like, is there an artist now, Moni Love? Like, or is there somebody now that you feel is living up to that legacy?
You know, I would be lying if I said I pay attention. I really am not paying attention to music that much, and I haven't
Really?
in a lot of, I know that's unusual because I'm an artist, but
Yeah.
you know, it's hard to listen to music and not think about work for me, right? Like yeah,
Mm.
I'm always critiquing songs, or like I get in my head about them. If I had to say, I think SZA's doing really great
Mhm.
right
Yeah.
now. Ooh,
Well,
yeah,
I'm gonna nominate Doechii for you to listen to, because I become really obsessed with her, because I feel
Yeah.
she's the
yeah,
most old school, new
yeah.
school rapper out
Oh,
there. Like,
yes, yes, yes. Thank you for
you
reminding.
know, she feels like she could fit
I have,
in y'all
yes.
era for real.
Absolutely. My son actually just sent me a song of hers the other day. I was like, I already know. I'm already up in it. He trying to keep me up on it. I'm like, you late. But he said he loves her. Oh, she has like that old school kind of
She's
vibe.
old
And he did
soul,
say
yeah,
that reminds me of Salt and Pepper and all the
for
ladies
sure.
from back in the day. So yeah, shout out to Doechii. Go girl.
I know. That's amazing. Well, I wanted to talk about your book on wellness that we mentioned is as part of the introduction. And in it, you really go into great detail about your journey, and things that happen throughout your life that's so separate, from who we know, you know what you're famous for. It's like family, your personal experiences. You really talked about that journey, and about, being in therapy. What made you want to write something on mental health?
Yeah, so there's a lady, shout out to Millionaire Williams, who's this has been her passion for many years. She has a son who's paranoid schizophrenic, and so is my brother. And we
Yeah.
met at an MC Light event, and she got up and kind of gave a little bit of her testimony. And I was there with someone whose son was starting to show signs of mental illness. Plus, I had that experience with my brother. And so we hugged and we prayed and we cried together, and she asked me if I would do a forward on her book. And we lost touch, and so I never got the opportunity to do it. And then years later, she was writing another book. She came to one of my shows like on purpose. She was like, I'm gonna find her, and she was in the audience screaming my name, and I recognized her. So we ended up back in touch, and she was doing a book. It's really her project, and I'm like ambassadoring the project because it's near to my heart. So there's 22 authors telling their testimony about, their own mental illness or a family member, and me giving my testimony about my brother and, his journey and our journey as a family through his very, very difficult mental health situation. So I was glad to do it because, there's a lot of it that in my family, there's a lot of women. See, I could get emotional talking about it, but
Yeah.
there's women in my family who have children that are going through it. And so the women in my family, they don't really talk to each other about it. And I would hear, different things from different people. So I even put together a retreat for us. Like it was like 20 cousins, like for us to all sit down and like just open up and be vulnerable because we need support. Women are going through this with their sons by themselves. It can be very dangerous. Like I've gotten to super dangerous situations with my brother and another family member who's dealing with it now. And our jails are filled with Black men who are dealing with mental health. So I just feel like it's super important, that we as these 22 women, we support each other, and we're looking to change some laws concerning mental health from state to state. So shout out to Millionaire Williams. She's amazing.
I love
That
that
is,
you're doing this work.
yeah,
Yeah.
and I mean, mental illness is so stigmatized
Mhm.
in the United States, in our culture, but I think particularly in the Black community, it's just not something that's talked about. So you know what I mean. Like, it's difficult to seek help if you're just. It's not a thing you're even having conversations about in church, or in your sorority, or in your home, right?
Yes. So thank you for that, because the stigma is the problem, like the the word says we overcome by the blood of the lamb and the word of our testimony, but nobody wants to give their testimony because they're embarrassed, right? Mental health can be very embarrassing. I remember when I was young, teenager, my brother started losing it. I would be out with my friends and like see him across the street, like walking and talking to himself like a crazy person. That's how I felt about it back then. And I would like try to walk us in a different direction out of embarrassment, and it's time that we come out of the closet with, the things that we're dealing with in order to get rid of that stigma, because it really is a huge problem. There's a couple of girls I'm talking to now. They do not want to be a part of any of this because they don't want to expose their child, and I understand that, but I feel like it's time for us to start speaking out and stop being embarrassed. It's a chemical imbalance. You know what I mean? It's not the person, it's a chemical imbalance. You have to look at it in that way.
Yeah. Oh, it's so true. I remember you talking about that years ago, your brother and the struggles with that. And I know it was very stressful for you and your entire family to deal with that. Again, I'm so glad you're doing this work, because someone like you talking about it helps to open the door for other people to feel like to release the shame, and the stigma around it, and to talk about it too. That's why I love when, people that are famous talk about things that everybody, I have people in my family with mental health issues, and it's a scary thing, and it's hard to talk to other people about it because they don't want to be open about it, but it's so common. It's so common.
Oh my God, it's so common. Yeah. Like every time I turn around, somebody else is dealing with like severe issues too, beside depression, bipolar and schizophrenia it's torture for the person that's going through it. Like I used to feel so hurt for my brother because I knew he could not handle like what was happening in his brain. And to your point, Joy, that there's been a lot of strides in mental health care. Like we used to have my brother take pills every day. Now you can get a shot once a month. There's more of a variety of medicines, not just that catatonic type of medicine like they gave my brother. So people are actually, when they're getting early, like when they're getting treatment early, it helps because it doesn't stunt their growth, because sometimes they can get stuck at 17 or 16 years old because they haven't been medicated with the right thing. They've either been catatonic or they haven't been on medication. So there's so much hope for anyone who has a child or yourself dealing with mental health issues, that you can get help, in a variety of ways opposed to long time ago.
And I mean, the thing is, and just from, and Jackie knows this too, that when I covered a lot of Black Lives Matter, and it's amazing how many of those cases start with a mental health issue, and where police don't know how to deal with it. And so, like, for those of you listening to the podcast who are like, well, I don't have that issue in my family, but in your community, a lot of the time when you're seeing police confronting Black people, they don't know how to even. First of all, there's the fear of the Black man themselves, Black man or woman themselves, and then secondly, there's a lack of understanding of the mental health issues that are taking place in front of them, and so they're reacting with force against somebody who needs medication. So like we all need to deal with curbing and finding some way to bring folks who have mental health issues into the mainstream, even just to teach police how to deal with them.
Yes. So there's a lot of organizations popping up that are like, can be a liaison between you and the police, because 9 times out of 10, you're going to have to call the police at some point, depending on how severe. Like a friend of mine, her son just got tased. And of course, she was freaking out and screaming, like, he's not a criminal. He's ill. He's sick, And so it's there's the law now. Like my mom was able to submit my brother into a mental hospital, Creedmoor he went to, and she got to get into the system and set it up, and like the whole nine. Next time he wilded out, we were going to call the police and blah blah blah. But now you have to have the person's permission
Yeah.
So
Wow.
there's so many women out here who have grown men in their homes wiling out on them, and they don't have any support because they can't put them submit them. Is that the right word? Commit them. Sorry.
Yeah.
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 They can't commit them, So yeah.
Yeah, it's challenging. I mean, my mother had a friend who was a retired educator, member of Alpha Phi Alpha, really worked in his church for many years, who started to who was in the throes of dementia and lost his home, and was living out of motels, basically homeless. And I was trying because my mother, who's a senior, was going to take him to go get something to eat, to take him to go replace his driver's
Yep.
license. Like she was
Yep.
the one, she and
Yep.
a small group of friends were taking turns doing things for him. And it was a lot on her. And so I called a state agency for seniors, for senior abuse, to see if they could evaluate him. And they came out, they evaluated him, and they said he was not in a position where they could do anything. They said,
Yep.
you have to take him to probate court. And this man had a great pension. He had good money because he worked in the education department for a long time. He was the president of the Georgia Retired Teachers Association. Like he was, you know what I mean? But was living on the streets. Fortunately, one hotel he was staying in, the manager or someone there got him into a senior living facility, and he is there now. But it took like almost 2 years to get, and this poor man with all the resources, like he could afford to live, housing for seniors is so expensive, especially if it's assisted living. But he was able to find some place, and he's safe now. But this man was on the street. It is, it's almost
In America. I should know, in America, because we're the only country in the Western world where this conversation could even happen, because in other countries, there's care that comes from the state. And we just don't believe in caring for people here in America for whatever reason.
Yeah. And it's an epidemic that is just getting worse and worse. So I'm just doing my part.
Yeah, you are. And I celebrate that. Something else I want to take a moment to celebrate. I don't know if you're still sticking with this, Cheryl, but I'm going to go there because I've seen you doing cooking videos.
Oh,
this
yeah.
vegan journey. What's up, girl?
Here we
What's
go.
up?
We knew it was coming. Here we go. Here we go. The vegan supremacist has entered the building.
Got the vegans. Oh, no. Listen. My daughter is a militant vegan. Like she's not the fake vegan. She ain't no vegan. She's the vegan. You hear me? But she went on her vegan journey because she had, what is the PSOP, whatever, on your uterus, like the polyps or something. I forgot the name of it. PSO something. She gonna be like, Mom. She had eczema, like, all these different things going on. When she was a little girl, she had severe irritable bowel syndrome. She has allergies. I could go on and on. But to the point of we are what we eat is like so crazy. Because when she was little and she was dealing with that missing school, waking up, throwing up, and I didn't know what was wrong. I took it to all the doctors. They didn't know what's wrong. Send me stool samples. I was like, they are not going to figure this out, right? So I went online. This is when she was in, I want to say, elementary school or junior high school. I went online and I said, irritable bowel syndrome. Naturally, what can I do? Girl, I started giving this child apple cider vinegar and honey every morning, just a spoonful. And it was just by faith I was doing it. And it went away. It took maybe 2 months. Because you know that those real medicines, they're not just masking the symptoms. They're curing you, right? So cut to scene 2, as we got older, we never forgot that, right? As she got older, and then all these other issues, and then she just went vegan. First, she just stopped doing dairy, and then all of a sudden she's like straight vegan. No problems, no eczema, her whole life gone. The polyps or whatever the heck was on her uterus, gone. Like other things I won't mention because they're very, to her, but she's like the healthiest person I know. So cut to me. I am not a vegan.
But
I am on my way.
I'm surprised Jackie didn't say yet.
I did. I said, but it's just a matter of time.
But you do know that like 80-20 is a good deal, right? It's better than
It's a good
just
start.
It's a good
listen.
start.
We used to eat meat every day, 3 times a day, right? We
Exactly.
had eggs and bacon in the morning,
Bacon, eggs, a
some
steak for
cold
dinner.
cuts,
Yes.
and I was
Pork
then
chops.
it's like 3 times a day. So if
Yeah.
I'm at 80-20, I'm doing good.
You're
I'm
doing
Look,
great.
Jesus ate fish and he gave it to the people.
Thank you.
If it's good enough for Jesus, it's good enough
But
for
when
you.
you watch these shows, like What the Health and all of that, I mean, it
Yeah.
really, really like gets to you. And it's getting worse as we know.
It
We
is.
have more information. So I started cooking vegan meals for my daughter and I loved it. And so I started just making them for myself. They're so much lighter. They're so much more delicious to me because you got to
Yeah.
really put your foot in it, to make it
To
good.
make it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just enjoy cooking because what I come up with sometimes is phenomenal. I must say so myself.
It's all y'all creative cooks. And you're good in California because California people are all vegan. So you can
Yeah.
find all the ingredients. I'm in the struggle of Maryland where there is literally, I have to Instacart me some food. I do not have time to make these complicated meals. Y'all ladies have them complicated. I don't have time for that. I
It's
need
fun.
food in
You
15
have
minutes.
to love cooking. You have to love
Yes,
cooking to
you
do
do.
it. So yeah, I might be doing a cooking show. Who knows? Just doing
Okay,
my thing.
let's go.
I
I want
love that. Now, have you been to Crossroads yet out there in LA?
Of course I have.
it.
My daughter comes here. You can't name a vegan restaurant we haven't been to, girl. Yes,
I haven't
Crossroads.
been to Crossroads yet. Is it as good as they
It's so
say?
good. Yes.
Oh,
What is it? The cigar, something cigar kind of hors d'oeuvre. Yeah. Yummy. Shout out to Crossroads.
uh,
Okay.
I can't wait to go. They have two in the LA area and
So
then one in Las Vegas. They need to get one on the East Coast because I'm dying. But I hear it is just
good.
crazy. The food that they have there. It's so delicious. So
Mhm.
I just have to live through you.
There's nothing like taking care of yourself. You know what
That's
I
true.
mean? I mean,
Yeah.
exercise, therapy, eating right, prayer, surrounding yourself with like-minded people. Like I love you two together like this. You know what I'm saying? It's like we deserve it. I'm in my
Yeah.
50s. I just deserve to really take care of me. And that's where I'm at in my life. And I
Amen.
encourage all the women to take care and prioritize their mental health,
Yeah.
physical and
Amen.
mental
Yeah.
health.
Amen.
And it's never
Amen.
too late to start. Some people may feel like, oh, I've lived this life. I'm on this medication. It's,
Yeah.
it's hereditary. No,
Turn
you
that
can.
thing around, honey.
Yes.
Blood
Yes.
pressure, all of it. You can turn it around.
Yeah.
Yep. So
For sure.
true.
For sure.
Well, Cheryl Salt James, I love inserting that in your name. Thank you
Listen.
so much for stopping by. Read this, read
Guys.
that, and just talking to us. There's an open invitation, girl. You can come
Anytime.
back anytime,
I will.
just to hang out. You don't even
Just
have
hang
to
out.
be
And thank you for
promoting
not
anything.
shaming me for losing my whole dignity because I'm a genuine fan. I'm telling you,
Thank
I'm not a
you,
fake fan
Joy.
like some of them. I am a fan
No,
fan.
he
I
is.
copied y'all earrings. I tried to do my hair like it. I tried when I had hair. I tried to do the whole thing because I'm a
We didn't
fan.
get
You're
you in
so
trouble,
great.
did we? We got all the girls in trouble.
All the girls are just look. You know you did. My auntie, because my auntie from Guyana. And so what is this earring you're wearing? What that take that thing off? No, she was not into it. I had to tell her that Pet was Jamaican for her to even me to even accept it. I was like, come on, there are people.
Right,
Look,
right.
the old West Indians was not feeling it. They were
Oh,
not.
no. Nobody's mothers was feeling it. Girls tell us that all the time. Either their clothes, their hair, or singing "Let's Talk About Sex" or "None of Your Business." I'm like, dang,
They
y'all
were
ain't got
mad.
no good stories.
And I
Girl.
got one quick story before we let you go. So when my mom unfortunately passed and when I was 17 and I moved back to East Flatbush, Brooklyn, and during the height of you guys' era. And so we used to want to watch we would watch New York Hot Tracks. We want to watch our music video stuff. But on Saturdays, we would get up at my Auntie Dolly's house and we would do all our cleaning. They make you clean. And so you have to work. You know what I mean? Like they love to make children work. So we would work and then we would go to my Uncle Edgar's house where all the cousins would gather. But he was a Seventh-day Adventist. So, that means no music, no talking, no nothing.
Grandmother was Seventh-day Adventist, so I know. We used to sit in the park on Friday night, TV off. Go ahead,
TV
girl.
off.
I
And so
know.
what we would do is we would go in the basement because we were like, his room was upstairs and we would go in the basement and we would have it all real low. And so we would be listening to it. That's back when I thought I was going to marry LL Cool J. You know, I don't know. So we would literally we would be listening to y'all and everything, but it was some of the best times. I feel like that era for hip hop was so important. It was so culturally significant. And for us, like, it's good because y'all were like our age. It was like we're seeing people our age that were doing the thing.
Yeah.
This was music we love. So I just want you to know you poured so much just joy into our lives.
Yeah.
We were enjoying y'all, and we grew up with you. You know what I mean? I feel like we grew up with you. So I just want to thank you for the artistry that you've given to us, and also because you so spiritual. When we realized we're like, this is a spiritual sister who's giving more than just music. You're an artist that matters to me. So I just want to thank you for that.
I appreciate that. Good seeing you guys, and
Thank
good
you.
luck with the show and everything.
Thank
You know,
you.
some things have to move out the way for other things to
Amen.
happen, right?
Amen.
So let's
Amen.
go. Let's go. 2025. Let's go.
We're going to thrive in 2025. That's what we're doing.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. That's so
Oh my
cool. I got to meet Salt.
He's so amazing. I tell you.
So, like, you're like, oh, she was at my house. I was at her house. I was like, what? You were hanging out with Salt? You know every daggone body. Damn.
Story time. No, let me
Girl, let me tell when I tell y'all, Jackie Reed knows everybody. She'll be like just casually being like, and then I was hanging out with James Brown. What? And like, what are you talking about? But she just be like dropping it in. And then I was on the Tom Joyner morning cruise, and then Samuel L. Jackson walked up. And I was like she just be casually dropping all the people she know. And I'm like, you with who?
I love when you're like, wait a minute, what?
I was like, you was at her house? Like, what?
Yeah, we used to go to this Bible study together. And it was like this really interesting group of people in this Bible study. It would be Cheryl, Salt, and Sandy Pep. It would be Gayle King, Star Jones, one of the Baldwin brothers, I think Stephen. Who else was in there?
What?
And Stephen A. Smith would be in there.
Get out of here.
Girl, it was, and forgive me for forgetting some
like
names.
Celebrity Bible study.
It was, and we used to be there once a week, girl. We used to go to the Four Seasons in Manhattan, and then we moved to I can't remember this private club, the Core Club. We used to go there because Curtis Martin, who's a former Jets football player, he would host everything, and so once a week we would all get together, and it was very intimate. And we would all talk about, but everything stayed in the room, and it was Bible study, and we would just have everybody could really, because it wasn't a huge group, but we could really talk about what was going on in our lives. And it was really a really special thing that we did. And that's how I ended up doing the reality show with Cheryl and Sandy.
That is
an interesting story.
One day the memoir is going to be lit because you've done so many exciting things in the media. But you know what I love about that story is it really is true that the only way that somebody in the jobs we're in could do a Bible study is in a Bible study like that, where everyone else was also in the media. Because one of the challenges is like people always like, you should go to like an exercise class. But no, I'm not going to go to an exercise class because then the exercise class is an exercise class. You know what I mean? That's not an exercise class. It's more of, you know what I mean? It's just, it's more of a public appearance.
It's like, hey, can we take a selfie? Oh my God, I want to talk to you. And it's not that. And
I love it. And you know me, I will do it. So then I will take, because I love people. So I'm just like, sure. And then I haven't exercised at all.
Right. It's like walking down the street with you is an experience, because I'm always like, I am security. I'm like,
security. She's like, no.
But
I mean,
I feel like you should be able to, you have to be able to have experiences. Like if you're out to dinner with your family, you don't want people coming up to you and wanting to take pictures, even though you love and appreciate how much people love and appreciate you. You still deserve to have those moments. You should be able to go to church and have a moment and worship and do all, and go to Bible study and talk about what's going on with you with other like-minded people. So it was a great thing to have.
Imagine being Salt and Pepa, like at the height of their fame, going to church.
Yeah.
That's not going to happen, because
Yeah.
them going to church is not Sandy, going to church, and it's not them going to church. It's Salt and Peppa going to church.
Yeah.
And so then they walk in the church, and it's a different thing. So I can only imagine them, as young as they were.
Yeah.
They weren't just going to the mall. You know what I mean? Like,
Mm-mm.
and you think about, imagine Beyonce, as they say, Beyonce trying to go to church. How's that going to happen? How's that working?
Can't do it. You can't do it unless you have security. And you isolate a whole section for her. Yeah.
Right. Because and not that anybody means any harm. It's just
No.
that's Beyonce in church. And so it's like, of course, everyone's going to want to talk to her and speak to her and, have a moment with her. So it's like, I feel like that is what you would have to be doing. If you were doing a Bible study, it would be with Gayle King and, and all of those celebrities. Like, that's actually pretty epic, though. It's pretty freaking incredible.
Yeah, it was really interesting. It was an interesting thing. I mean, and nothing ever
Did Stephen A.
leaked
Smith
out of
know
that
what was in
room.
the Bible? Sorry, just playing.
What'd you say?
I said, did Stephen A. Smith know what was in the Bible? I'm just kidding.
Now
I joke. I kid.
I kid.
I kid because I'm a kidder. Did he let the pastor get it a word in edgewise? I kid because I'm a kidder. Did he say he wants to be president of the United States? I kid because I'm a kidder.
Listen,
was he a Republican or a Democrat? I kid.
He was a Democrat at that time. He was a Democrat at that time. But how things have changed.
He's a Republican.
Yeah, he is
but
definitely.
Good luck to him.
Yeah, listen. Hey, do you,
Everyone
boo?
can be what they want.
Do you?
Be
on the wrong side of history all day long if you want to, but do you, boo? Listen, because we wanted to, of course, talk about our lives and wind down and everything, and definitely give time to Cheryl. We did not have time to talk about Cynthia Erivo and some of the other topics that we mentioned. We will get to them next week. But until then, be sure to go to I know, girl, they have to have the backstory to the way we open the show with welcome to Black History Month version of Black Excellence. Excellence. And echo. One day we'll explain all that to you. Yeah, it'll make total sense. It'll make sense. But thank you all for tuning in to Read This, Read That. We hope that you all, show us some love. Go to our YouTube channel, subscribe, like, give us a thumbs up, and comment, because that way you can support what we're doing. Please. But also, wherever you listen to podcasts, please check us out, subscribe there so you get the alert when there's a new podcast available. And on everywhere on social media, Read This, Read That is there. Please follow myself and Joyanne on social media. Follow all the things. All the things. Can I give a gratuitous shout out for Substack? So the new play, people are going to be like, oh my God, where are you going to be? Yeah. Now that you're not on MSNBC, you will be able to find me at joyannereed.substack.com. It's going to be shortened to just joyannereed.com, but it's joyannereed.substack.com or joyannereed.com. That's where my things will be. And that's where you can also find out where my appearances are going to be. You're going to get the schedules for Read This, Read That, the podcasts that are coming up, all the things. And so you'll find it there. You can also from there follow me on Blue Sky and on Instagram and on TikTok and all the things. And you should also make sure that when you're done checking out Joy and Reed, reid.substack.com, you then going to walk immediately over, put your computer back up, and go to vegansexycool.com, because you need to follow vegansexycool.com, because if you're going to be a vegan that is going to force people like me to also be a vegan with you by the end of the year, you will be unsuccessful at it if you are not also sexy and cool, because everyone will listen to you more if you're vegan and sexy and cool.com. So follow vegansexycool.com. Also follow all the things, as cousin, sister, soul friend Jackie said. Read this, read that. Yes, do. Thank you. I have to isolate that promo and put it on my Vegan Sexy Cool thing. I got a promo from Joyanne Reed for Vegan Sexy Cool. Luckily, I'm not on that app. What's that app that Matt Gaetz was on, where he was doing like promos for people? Did you see that? They were all on that. No. What's that app where these people be selling they'll be selling greetings and stuff like that? I heard about that. Isn't that wild? Like people. Matt Gaetz was on that? Yes, politicians be getting on it, and they like sell like
promos. It's like, hey, happy birthday, Joan. It's Matt Gates saying happy birthday. What is it called? Where's
Anthony, our
producer?
editor, is saying Cameo.
Cameo. People be on
Yeah.
Cameo doing that. It's wild. And like major people be on that. They like lose their congressional seat. Next thing you know, they're on Cameo. It's wild.
Girl, it's gonna
Never
be
do
It's
that.
going to be an interesting journey moving forward. But
It
we thank
will.
you all for joining us. And until next week, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. So long. Farewell.
Farewell.
Auf
Auf Wiedersehen. Good
Wiedersehen.
night.
Good night.
Adieu. Good night.
You're silly.